welcome to my channel. My name is Chisom. On today's episode, I'll be discussing about how I prepared for the interview, the things that I did, and all of that good stuff. So stay tuned. Remember to subscribe, like my videos, and share with your friends and family. Yeah, let's get into it. In our last quarter, our school had this class where they kind of like prepared us on how to go for interview. I thought that was helpful, especially for people that has never had to like apply for nursing job. So what they did was that they had recruited some managers from different hospitals and different units to come to the school and interview the students. And at the same time, it's also like a way to kind of like market the job openings out there, and how like employees try to recruit new grads to come and work for the unit. So when we took that class, they helped us with how to prepare for interview, from how to dress to presentation to how to prepare for the interview, and also like questions and things that you need to know before you go for the interview. So that was super helpful. But it wasn't my first nursing job. I used to work as a nurse tech, so I've been through this process before, knew like what I needed to do. So when I got my job offer, first of all, what I made sure that I did was that I took my time to learn about the hospital itself, and I made sure to know their vision and their mission, but also like you read through it and you grab what you need to grab from it and put it into your own words. So after I did that, I also went on their birthing review to see what the patients were complaining about, or what I needed. I know like, oh, if they're lacking in this area, I know that I can bring changes that is needed in the unit to cover that gap in care that these patients are complaining about, if that makes sense. So I did that, and I also watched a couple of YouTube videos on labor and delivery nurses and their experience and how they interviewed, and some of the questions that you might be expecting to get during your interview. And that was also super helpful for me. Also, the things that I did in terms of the materials that helped me get the confidence that I needed. And then the other thing that I did was to make sure that I had my paperwork ready, right? Even though I sent all these things to them, I printed copies of my resume that I had previously sent to the HR, and just have copies for myself and copies for the manager, just in case if they ask you for it. Like, it shows that you're ready. It shows that you're using your critical thinking, right? Because sometimes they just test you to see how prepared you are, right? Because they already have all this information, but they can ask you like, hey, do you have a copy of your resume? Like, you don't want to sit down there and just kind of like laugh through it and go. So just kind of like prepare yourself. It gives them a good vibe when you go there. And then the next thing that I did to prepare for my interview was that I wanted to look a certain way. Like, there's this saying in my country, the way you present yourself is the way you will be addressed. And that has always been my motto since I was young, that I dress the way I want people to know me, especially if I'm going for a job interview. So with that being said, wear whatever makes you comfortable by all means, right? I remember like during the class that we took at school, they did highly recommend wearing black pants and white shirt, and wear something that covers up your tattoo. If you have like piercings that are a little bit too much, try to cover it up. I mean, nobody is telling you to hide who you are, but you're going for an interview and you need to be presentable. And when you start working, like, who cares? You can wear whatever you want to wear, and nobody's going to tell you like to remove those piercings from your ear or remove those piercing from whatever. But yeah, like, you just want to be presentable, cover yourself up, wear like a very comfortable shoe, carry a good handbag, smell good, but try not to like be too like use strong perfumes that might be too strong, because people are allergic to scents. So for my dressing, that was what I did. Make sure like I did like very minimal makeup, like very, very minimal. And then on the day of the interview, or maybe a day before, they reminded me like, hey, your interview is on this day, make sure like you come on time. And they sent me like the direction on how to get to the unit. So I replied back and I was like, oh, I'm excited. I can't wait to interview and potentially join your crew. So I sent that to them, and on the day of the interview, I was 30 minutes early. Like, I'm not kidding. I came there because I've also never been to that hospital before, so I needed a lot of time to make sure that if there was traffic, I have the time to get through traffic, get to the unit, find where I need to be, and just be relaxed before the interview starts. So I was there very early, and they let the manager know like I was there and sitting and waiting, right? And it was about 10 minutes before she came out, and we went inside her office, and she was like, oh, you came so early, like, sometimes you've had people come in late. And I was like, no, I like to be on time, it shows professionalism, it shows respect, and that's why, you can keep people waiting. And also for the good vibe, and we just started laughing, started vibing, and that made me feel so relaxed. So when we got to the office, the first question she asked me was, tell me about yourself. And I feel like this question, like, there is no right or wrong way to go about it. I think you want to think about the vibe that you want the atmosphere to look like, right? So that's how I feel like I answered it. I think when she asked me, I just started by, again, my name is Chisom. I'm from Nigeria, went to school at Shoreline, and graduated in this year and passed NCLEX, and I applied here. So today I'm here because I'm interested in becoming a labor and delivery nurse, and your facility is one of the facilities that I've always dreamed to work at. And now that I have the opportunity to interview, I'm super excited, and I cannot wait to see what the future holds. I think that was how I went about the question. And then the next thing she asked me was, tell me a moment when you had to deal with a difficult patient. How did you go about it? How did you resolve it? Was the patient happy? I gave an example from my experience working as a nurse tech at the ICU and the med surg. So when I did answer that, she was like, oh my God, that was great. And she then asked me, tell me when you had to work with a difficult co-worker and how did you go about it? I gave her an example, and she asked me if you come into your shift and your patient is in labor and she's crying and screaming, what are you going to do as a labor and delivery nurse? How are you going to support her? And then I just answered because, again, this is what I like. I'm very good at comforting. I'm very good at showing caring. I'm very good at using my listening ears just to listen and give you the support that you need. So when I was done answering her questions, she asked me, like, do you have any questions for me? Which I did. I asked her like a couple of questions because I'm a Black girl. So I wanted to know, like, what is the diversity on the unit like? What kind of support do they offer, like new grad nurses? How is the unit culture? Are we dealing with the situation where nurses see they are young? So I asked her those questions, and I also asked her like the base payment that I wanted to know, like how much they are paying new grads and how long is the residency program. Like, I was getting to read to show her that I did my research before I came. And she asked me, why did you choose this hospital? I went ahead and I told her the reason, but I also included like their mission and vision as to why I wanted to be part of the unit. And I also gave them examples from the reviews that I had read and the patients, what they were looking for. And as a new graduate nurse, I have this fresh, like, energy coming in. So when I gave her all of that, she was so happy. She was like excited. And then she took me around the unit. We met different nurses, introduced me and told them like she just finished interviewing me. And then she showed me the labor rooms and she just kind of like showed me around the unit. And after that, I asked her like, when am I expecting to hear from you? She told me it will be a couple of days. I was like, okay, thank you so much. I was thankful. The interview lasted for like 45 minutes, I would say. And then after that, I went home. When I got home, I emailed her and also emailed the HR that scheduled the interview together. And immediately I sent her that message. It took like 5 minutes, and they both responded back to me. And told me like they'll be reaching out if they would like to move forward with my application. And a few days later, they messaged me and told me like they were interested, and that was how I got my job. So I think my biggest thing for my new grad nurses is that before you finish your nursing school, start thinking about where you want to work. If you're planning on becoming a labor and delivery nurse, look at the hospitals around you. Look at the hospitals that are hiring new grads to train them for residency, because they open these residency programs certain times within the year. So at the place that I work, it's only available once a year. So if you miss that deadline, you have to wait for the next year before you can apply. So I always say during your 6th quarter is when you should start looking at the places where you're interested in working, and start doing your assignments, start emailing them, asking them questions. When are you hiring? What is this program like? Just start showing interest, so that when your name starts to pop up in their email, like whoever is reading that email will always remember, like, hey, I saw this email, I know this person has been asking questions. Just keep them busy, right? And also, if you go for your OB clinical, make sure that you impress your preceptor and try to meet the manager, talk to the manager, because where I did my clinicals happened to be where I had my 2 kids. And I remember when I think it was the last day of my clinical was when I went to meet with the manager. And when I met her, she told me like she had 2 other nursing students that had met her before me, and she's interested in hiring them. So that didn't work out well for me, just because there are other people ahead of me. And the reason I wanted to work at the hospital was because it was very close to my house, like literally 5 minutes drive from my house to the hospital. So I felt like that would be easy for me to drive every morning. But in terms of my dream job was this hospital that I'm currently working, just because I like it. I've got good reviews about it, and I just wanted to be part of the team. So yeah, always do your assignments. And then the other thing was that my instructors were also good when it came to giving me recommendation. Like my instructor told me, like, I don't know your relationship with your instructors, but they wrote very strong recommendation for you. So keep good relationship with your instructors. Make sure that you're not just burning bridges as you're going, because there's this saying like whoever you meet when you're going forward, you might meet them when you're going back. So always like keep that relationship open with them. Let them know that you're interested in using them as a recommendation for your job, for even not just your job, like when you decide to go further your education. Like I had to get my BSN at some point, and I still needed those instructors to write recommendation for me. So always keep your instructors, because it's very, very important when you need these jobs. And yeah, that was it. If you have any question, please drop it in the comments. I'll be reading and I'll be answering all your questions. And yeah, stay tuned for the next video. Bye.